So this tutorial is for Digital Monkey School, and in this tutorial I'm going to go over materials and adding textures to your model. So as you can see, it's a gray model. There's like no color to it. So we're going to add some color to it and some textures. So in order to do that, we go to Window, Rendering Editors, Hypershade. As soon as this window pops up, we go to Create Materials. You can use Blinn, Lambert, and Phong, but I'm going to use Blinn for this. You go to Color, and then you have all these colors to choose from. And I'm just going to choose red. Press Done. Gonna select our model, go to Blinn, right click and hold, assign material to selection, and as you can see, our car is now red. For the next one, the next material, we're going to use Lambert. So you go to Create Materials, Lambert, Color, double click, gonna use black, done. And right away you can see that this one is just plain flat black and this is more glossy. So that's the difference between the Blinn and the Lamberts. So we're gonna select our wheels and press shift and hold. Now we have all our wheels selected, and we're gonna right click and hold assign material to selection. And there we go, our wheels are black and our car is nice and glossy. But we have no windows and well, it's just basic color. So that's where textures come in. So we're gonna add some textures to it. I'm just gonna select all this and turn it back to gray. So now we're going to create a UV map, and that will allow us to use textures. So you go to create UVs, make sure you're on polygons here, because if you're in animation you won't find it. Anywhere else you won't find it, so make sure you're on polygons. And then we go to select, make sure to select your geometry first, and then we go to create UVs. And you can use planar mapping, cylindrical mapping, spherical mapping, or automatic. But for this I'm going to use create UVs based on camera. So this basically creates, well, UVs based on what the view on the camera is. So anywhere your camera is located, it will UV that. So I'm going to carefully make it that. And I'm going to select and create UVs, create UV based on camera. So once it's selected, you know the UVs are there. So this is all selected, and we go to Window, UV Texture Editor, and here's our UV. This only works with objects like this. It won't work with like a human model, because you know this side is the same exact side as this, so there's no point in creating separate texture for one side and the other when it's the same. So here we have our UV, and we can go in there and edit and move them around. So if it seems a little too close to the edge, so we're gonna just minimize it a bit. And you can move it around, it just depends where you want it and how organized you are. So, but for this example, I'm just gonna leave it as is. And yeah, you can move them around to whatever you want. And if you want to select all of them at the same time, you just you press Control hold and right click and hold, and then you go to shell and it'll select all of it. So you can move it around and do whatever. So that's our car right there. And now we take a snapshot of this. There's different ways to do it, but I do it the old school way. So what I do is I just go to my keyboard and press print screen. And then I minimize this, I go into Photoshop and I paste. Woo. So I have dual monitor, so both monitors came in here. But there's different ways to do this. I do this the old school way because that's how I was taught. I know there's a way to do the other way to do this, but we're just gonna do it this way for now. And there's our UV, and we're just gonna crop all this, which is useless, and just leave this. And there's our UV, and now we're just gonna add a new layer. So if you know how to use Photoshop, you can do a lot of stuff with this. So lower the opacity a bit so you can still see the UV. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make this all red. There you go. And I'm gonna add some windows. You can get pretty fancy with this. I'm just showing you an example, so it's not gonna be perfect. And so we have that. We can make some windows. I'm gonna make this. So I made a window. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. And let's just add some little design just for sample purposes. We're gonna add stars to it. So there we go. Turn the opacity back on. I forgot to add a few shadows. So add another layer for the shadows. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna go File, Save As. I'm gonna turn this into a JPEG. And I'll put a car texture. Gonna save it on my desktop. Okay. Okay. Go back to Maya. Close this. So now we're gonna go back into our materials, rendering editors, Hypershade. We're gonna create a blend. No, Lambert. We got a color. You go to the little checkered and click on it. You get this menu here, and we're gonna go to File. This other menu pops up. We're gonna go to click on this folder here. We're gonna go to Desktop where we put our texture, and here it is, car texture. And there we can see it. We're gonna open. And now our texture is now on the materials. So we're gonna click on the car, assign material to selection, and as you can see, our car has the texture we created in Photoshop. But it's not lining up correctly. So we have to go into Window, UV Editor, and we can move these vertices. And as you can see, it's it moves the texture around. If you move the vertices, you can see here how it's changing. Some people like to have really neat UVs. I'm an animator, so I do UVs as easy as I can and take as many shortcuts as I can. And sometimes when my UVs don't line up well to my texture, I go ahead and move them around to make them fit how I intended them to. So this is basically a shortcut how to do it. But as you can see, the car has a texture now, but it doesn't have a window here. So we're gonna add that. So we're gonna go back into, make sure you're in object mode. And we're gonna go to, no, it's fine. And we're gonna create UVs, planar.